Hello, dear and beloved ones. Please subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. Brew some tea or coffee and enjoy watching.
When Anya made the call, everyone froze in shock, so the peasant girl had actually agreed to come. But before we continue, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. Enjoy the story. Anya nervously adjusted the lace collar of her modest dress, trying to hide her anxiety. Tonight, they were having dinner with Igor's mother, Margarita Viktorovna. Every visit to her was a real test for Anya. Margarita Viktorovna was a domineering woman, accustomed to luxury. From the very beginning, she had disapproved of Anya, believing that a simple village girl was not a good match for her son, a promising lawyer. Igor noticed her unease and gently squeezed her hand. Don't worry, everything will be fine. But his voice lacked confidence. Anya knew he loved her, but when it came to his mother, he was too soft. They entered the spacious apartment, filled with symbols of wealth, expensive furniture, paintings in gilded frames, crystal chandeliers. Everything screamed status. Anya felt like a stranger in this environment. Margarita Viktorovna met them in the living room, casting a contemptuous glance at Anya. Oh, there you are. Igor, did you at least explain to your wife how to behave at the table? Mom, why are you like this? Igor said quietly. I just want everything to be proper, she replied coldly. Last time, she managed to spill sauce on the tablecloth. And honestly, Anya, you should work on your manners. Anya felt her cheeks flush. She tried to ignore the sharp remarks, but it was becoming increasingly difficult. The dining room was set for an exquisite dinner. Gleaming silverware, fine porcelain, elegant dishes. Anya sat upright, trying not to attract attention. Then Margarita Viktorovna turned to her with a smirk. So, Anya, how's your little village? Still keeping cows? Mom, please stop, Igor muttered. What? I'm just curious, she said innocently. Life there must be so dull, so monotonous, no culture, no entertainment. Anya clenched her fists under the table. She wanted to speak up, to tell her mother-in-law about the beauty of her homeland, about the hard-working, honest people living there. But she held back. It's nice there, she said quietly. Fresh air, kind people. Kind people are nice, of course. Margarita Viktorovna smirked. But in life, one needs intelligence, education, and a certain social standing. Then, as if delivering the final blow, she added, By the way, my housekeeper is sick. Since you come from a working-class family, maybe you could call your peasant mother? She could come and be my cleaning lady. A heavy silence filled the dining room. Igor froze in disbelief. He knew his mother could be cruel, but this... Tears welled up in Anya's eyes. This was too much. She wiped them away, then looked Margarita Viktorovna straight in the eye and said calmly, All right, I'll call her. Margarita Viktorovna had expected an outburst, tears, maybe even an escape. But instead, she got a composed, dignified response. The rest of the dinner passed in tense silence. On the way home, Igor and Anya sat quietly. He felt guilty, but he had no idea how to fix things. Back home, Anya sat on the edge of the bed, hearing her mother-in-law's words echo in her mind. Call your peasant mother. Let her be my cleaning lady. Igor paced the room restlessly before kneeling beside her and taking her hand. Oh no, I am sorry. Please forgive her. You know how she is. Anya turned away. Yes, I do. She's arrogant, cruel. And you, her beloved son, never stand up to her. For the first time in their relationship, doubt crept into her heart. Was this really the life she wanted? Would she always feel like an outsider, humiliated and unworthy? She wiped her tears and looked at Igor. I don't know, Igor. I just don't know what to do anymore. I'm tired. Tired of her contempt. Igor wrapped his arms around her. I love you, Anya. I swear I'll make sure this never happens again. I'll talk to her. But Anya knew these were empty promises. Igor had said the same things before, and nothing had changed. Margarita Viktorovna remained untouchable. She glanced out the window at the city lights twinkling below, feeling distant and alone. Her mother's words echoed in her memory. Never let anyone humiliate you, my dear. You deserve respect. Anya picked up the phone and dialed. Mom, hello, sweetheart. What's wrong? Tears welled up again as Anya recounted the disastrous dinner. Her mother listened patiently, not interrupting, just letting her pour out her pain. When Anya finally fell silent, her mother spoke. Don't worry, my love. I'll come. Anya's breath hitched. You'll come? Where? Why, to Margarita Viktorovna. Mom, no, you don't have to. This is humiliating. Don't worry, sweetheart. I know what I'm doing. Just trust me. There was such confidence in her mother's voice that Anya couldn't argue. The next morning, Margarita Viktorovna's apartment was filled with a strange tension. She was eagerly awaiting the arrival of Anya's mother, expecting a meek village woman desperate for work. She felt a surge of satisfaction, believing she had finally put Anya in her place, proving her superiority. But she had no idea what was coming. Time dragged on painfully slowly. Margarita Viktorovna glanced at her watch several times, making it clear that the cleaning lady was late. Igor tried to lighten the mood by offering his mother another cup of coffee, but she just waved him off with disdain. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. Margarita Viktorovna smirked smugly and, hurrying ahead of Igor, went to open the door. She was certain she would see a pitiful figure in worn-out clothes and a shabby headscarf. However, when the door opened, an elegant woman stood on the threshold, dressed in a stylish pantsuit and wearing dark sunglasses. Her hair was neatly styled, and her well-manicured hands showcased an expensive manicure. She exuded confidence and dignity. Margarita Viktorovna froze in astonishment, struggling to comprehend who was standing before her. Hello, the woman said calmly, removing her glasses. I am Nina Petrovna, Anya's mother. Margarita Viktorovna paled. She had expected to see anyone but this self-assured woman. You the cleaning lady? She stammered, feeling as if the ground was slipping from under her feet. Nina Petrovna raised an eyebrow slightly, as if surprised by the question. A cleaning lady? No. Allow me to introduce myself properly. I'm the owner of the Rodnai Prostory Farm. At that moment, Anya and Igor approached the door. Anya struggled to suppress a smile, seeing her mother-in-law's bewildered face. Igor, on the other hand, looked just as shocked as his mother. He had always known that Anya's family lived in a village, but he had never suspected that they owned a thriving business. Mom, Anya said quietly, trying not to draw attention to herself. Hello, my dear, Nina Petrovna replied warmly, smiling at Anya. I hope I'm not interrupting your morning tea. Margarita Viktorovna forced herself to regain composure and maintain some semblance of dignity. Please come in, she said, trying to keep her voice steady. I didn't realize that I don't fit your idea of a village woman. Nina Petrovna finished for her with a slight note of irony. Prejudices often prevent us from seeing the true essence of things. She stepped into the living room, taking in the luxurious surroundings with a quick glance. You have a beautiful apartment, she remarked, her voice neutral. But I prefer living in nature. The air is fresher there, and the people are kinder. Margarita Viktorovna was at a loss for words. Her arrogance and disdain for Anya and her family had turned against her. Please, have a seat. Nina Petrovna, Igor said, trying to ease the tension. Would you like a cup of coffee? Thank you, Igor, Nina Petrovna replied as she sat down. But I prefer herbal tea. I actually brought a blend of medicinal herbs from my farm. She took a small packet from her bag and handed it to Anya. Brew this, dear. It's very good for the nervous system. Anya gratefully took the packet and headed to the kitchen. She felt much more confident knowing that her wise and strong mother was by her side. Margarita Viktorovna watched them, feeling her world crumble before her eyes. She realized she had made a huge mistake in judging Anya and her family based on her own prejudices. A tense silence settled in the living room. Igor shifted nervously from foot to foot, unsure of what to say. Margarita Viktorovna stared at Nina Petrovna, trying to read her thoughts. Finally, Nina Petrovna broke the silence. Margarita Viktorovna, she addressed Anya's mother-in-law, I didn't come here to start a scandal or prove my worth. I came here to protect my daughter. I will not allow anyone to humiliate her, especially not in her own home. Margarita Viktorovna flushed. I I didn't mean to, she began to stammer, but Nina Petrovna cut her off. I know what you think of my daughter, she continued. You see her as some simple country girl, unworthy of your son. But let me tell you something. Anya is the kindest, most honest, and hardworking person I know. She loves your son and does her best to make him happy. If you can't see that, then that says more about your own narrow mindedness than about her. Margarita Viktorovna remained silent, lowering her gaze. Shame burned inside her. I hope you understand that your words have hurt not only Anya, but also me, Nina Petrovna added. My husband and I put a lot of love and effort into raising our daughter, and it pains us to see her being belittled and insulted. At that moment, Anya returned with the tea. She placed the cups on the table and sat down next to her mother. Nina Petrovna took her hand and gently stroked it. My dear, she said softly, always remember that you are a worthy and beautiful woman. Never let anyone make you feel otherwise. Anya nodded, trying to hold back tears. She was deeply grateful for her mother's support and love. Margarita Viktorovna muttered something unintelligible, tried to justify her earlier words, but there was no malice or anger in Nina Petrovna's eyes, only calm confidence. I have no issue with cleaning, Margarita Viktorovna, Nina Petrovna suddenly said, her voice steady. But before I begin, let's discuss payment terms. After all, any labor should be properly compensated. Margarita Viktorovna was speechless. She was used to dictating the terms, but now the situation was entirely out of her control. Mom, Igor murmured hesitantly, trying to get his mother's attention. Maybe we should just let it go. Margarita Viktorovna shot him a piercing look. She didn't need his advice. She would handle this herself. I think there is a misunderstanding, she finally said, trying to maintain her composure. I didn't mean to offend you. My words were unfortunate. Nina Petrovna raised an eyebrow slightly. Unfortunate? She repeated. It seemed to me that you expressed your opinion about my daughter quite clearly. Margarita Viktorovna felt her carefully crafted image of an aristocratic lady crumbling before her eyes. I just meant that Anya should focus more on household matters, she attempted to explain. She doesn't know how to cook or clean properly. Anya couldn't help but chuckle softly. Margarita Viktorovna, she said, her voice calm and assured. I don't believe that a woman's purpose in life is to be a servant. I work, I study, and I do my best to be a good wife. But if you're not happy with how I manage the house, you're always welcome to hire a professional housekeeper with your money. Margarita Viktorovna pressed her lips together. She hated being reminded of her wealth. It was her weapon, her way of controlling those around her. But now, that very weapon seemed to have turned against her. Igor, seeing his mother losing control of the situation, decided to step in. Mom, please, he pleaded. Let's not argue, Igor said firmly. Anya is my wife, and I love her. I ask you to treat her with respect. For the first time in a long while, he showed determination. He was tired of his mother's constant criticism and her attempts to control his life. Now, he understood. He had to protect his wife, even if it meant going against his mother's will. Margarita Viktorovna looked at her son with disappointment. She had always seen him as obedient and weak-willed, but now his eyes reflected strength and confidence. She realized she was losing control, not just over the situation, but over her son as well. Fine, Igor, she finally said, her voice weary. I'll try, but you must understand, I only want what's best for you. Anya watched in silence, holding back a smile. The roles in this family were shifting, and she hoped this day would serve as an important lesson for her mother-in-law. Nina Petrovna turned to Margarita Viktorovna. I'm glad we had this conversation. I hope you now understand that judging a person based on their background or social status is wrong. A person's worth isn't defined by their parents or their wealth. Margarita Viktorovna gave a small nod, avoiding her gaze. She realized that her arrogance and prejudice had led her to a humiliating situation. She felt ashamed of her words and actions. Anya walked over to her mother and embraced her. She felt deeply grateful for her support. At that moment, she realized how lucky she was to have a loving and strong family. Thank you, Mom, she whispered. I love you, my dear. Nina Petrovna replied, gently stroking her daughter's hair. Everything will be all right. Leaving Margarita Viktorovna in confusion, Nina Petrovna said goodbye to Anya and Igor. Her gaze was filled with motherly love and pride for her daughter. I'll call you, she said briefly before getting into her luxurious car. It seemed as if the last traces of arrogance left the apartment with her. After she left, silence filled the room. Margarita Viktorovna sat motionless in her chair, staring into space. Igor had never seen his mother like this, lost and defeated. Anya, on the other hand, felt a surge of strength and confidence. She no longer felt small or insignificant. She no longer feared being judged for her background. Igor, shall we go home? She asked calmly. Igor flinched as if waking up from a dream. Yes, of course, he muttered, getting up from the couch. He stepped away to say goodbye to his mother. Anya remained in place, waiting. She didn't feel triumphant, only a sense of justice and restored dignity. When Igor returned, he looked troubled and guilty. Anya, I'm so sorry. He began hesitantly. I should have stood up for you earlier. I just didn't know what to say to my mother. Anya took his hand. It's okay, Igor. What matters is that you understand now. Just be by my side, all right? Igor squeezed her hand tightly. I will. I promise. I will never let her speak to you that way again. Anya Smenyov. She knew he was sincere. That evening had been an important lesson for him, one she hoped he would remember for life. A few days passed. Their home was peaceful and quiet. Igor became more attentive to Anya, frequently asking how she was and seeking her opinion on different matters. It was as if he was trying to make up for his past inaction. One evening, as they were having dinner, the phone rang. It's Margarita Viktorovna, Anya said, looking at the screen. She answered, and her mother-in-law's hesitant voice came through. Oh no, I wanted to apologize for everything I said and did. I was wrong, very wrong. Anya remained silent, waiting for her to continue. I know you probably won't want to forgive me, but I had to say it. I am truly ashamed. On your side, I appreciate your apology, Margarita Viktorovna, but I need time to process everything. I can't just forget what happened. I understand. I don't expect you to forgive me right away. Just know that I sincerely regret it. The conversation ended. Anya put down the phone and looked at Igor. What did she say? He asked, holding his breath. She apologized, said she was ashamed. Igor let out a relieved sigh. I am glad. I hope this is the beginning of the end of this conflict. Sometime later, Anya sat in the kitchen of her childhood home, drinking tea and chatting with her mother. So, my dear, how's your mother-in-law? Nina Petrovna asked. She's trying to change. Anya replied with a smile. Well, that's good. The most important thing is that she understands. Respect isn't something you can buy with money. It has to be earned. Anya, no, indeed. You're right, Mom. And I think she's finally realizing that.